And Oratile says, thank you for answering my questions. You mentioned something very interesting in that process. For decent photo taking smartphone, what camera specs should one look for? So, Mike, you made a very important point around, the adverts for the phones from Vodacom or whatever will always emphasize certain specs, but that's just to get you to buy the phone. What are the specs? I think you did mention this, but what good smartphone would you recommend for good quality photography and editing afterwards?
You know what they say, what's the best camera? The one you've got on you at the moment, and that's your phone. Apart from the earlier workhorses of those early Nokia phones that put out really cheap and nasty images, I think everybody's probably using a phone 3-4 years old. That's absolutely fine. It can be Samsung, it can be Apple. I'm just an Apple freak, but not a freak, it's the wrong word, just a total brand maniac. Apple, Samsung, Lenovo, whichever the makes they are, if it's about 3-4 years old, perfect. What you need to focus on, and we'll deal with that when we create a course, the main thing that you can do yourself a favor, when you take the picture on your smartphone, camera technique is so important. If you pick up the camera, and I'm just going to over-exaggerate this, your smartphone, for example, and you take the picture, your picture is going to be blurred. It's going to have camera shake. So the more stable you can keep your camera, your phone, when you take the picture, that's already giving you a brilliant result. That's already going to improve your photography. Stay out of dark places. If you go, I'm just thinking there must be some caves around South Africa. Yeah. Kango caves, I think Sudwana caves. Going to a party at night. The camera needs to let light into the phone or into the camera. So if it's very dark, it's going to take a long time to let that light in. And then it's going to pick up movement while the shutter's open.
Yeah.
Photograph in lighter locations so that the camera can open and close, take your picture quickly, and hold the camera as steady as possible.
Mike, I know when I'm at, parties or social gatherings and people are saying, okay, let's get together for a quick photograph, whatever, and then the sun is behind the subject, I always say, let's turn around, right? So that the sun, often if you're outside or whatever, the sun must be behind the person quickly holding up the smartphone to take a picture of the group, right? Or not too
I'm
much
not quite
sun,
sure, but
the light source.
I just heard something about the sun. The biggest misconception that I don't know how I understood you is people say, when I was a little kid and I've been brought up with photography, get the sun behind you, son. It's the worst place to have the sun, because if it's behind you as a photographer, it's directly in the eyes of the subject. Get the light to be behind the subject, so that can also a photograph is a very much, we see it as a three-dimensional object in our eyes and in our brains. A camera, the minute you click the picture, it converts it to a two-dimensional plane. So we need some kind of differentiator that will give us a little bit more perspective, like shadows. Like if the sun is behind the subject, it will outline the rim of their hair. That is giving you more perspective and more depth to the picture. Don't get the sun behind you. It's in the eyes of the people, and they're going to have their eyes closed.
So I've been doing the wrong thing then all these years.